Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Marvel Monday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with the Marvel Legends series, Marvel Knights Wave, Luke Cage Power Man. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging and hopefully, I don't owe Luke Cage any money. Build-A-Figure, Mindless One, assortment number 4 and up. Warning, don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. And I'm guessing some sort of new Luke Cage symbol. I don't ever remember having seen this before, but that's kind of cool looking. Marvel Legends series, and oh my goodness, it's a window showcasing the figure, accessories, and Build-A-Figure piece. Marvel Knights Luke Cage Power Man. Hasbro print. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, made in China print. Symbols I'm not going to learn. And a GameStop barcode. And underneath is the regular barcode. On this side, some nice artwork of Mr. Cage. On this side, same artwork of Luke Cage. And on the back, same artwork, only a larger view of it, of Luke Cage. Marvel Legends series Luke Cage Power Man. Having accidentally gained superhuman strength and bulletproof skin from a science experiment, Luke Cage becomes a hero for hire, known as Power Man. And then here it is again in some other languages. Build-A-Figure Mindless One. Here's the completed Mindless One Build-A-Figure with numbers corresponding with the cross sale, which are Midnight Suns, Iron Man, Blade, Lady Bullseye, this figure Luke Cage, the Fist Ninja, Clea, and Bearded Daredevil, who does not come with a piece. Each sold separately, subject to availability. Attention! Don't stick things in your French pie hole. Warning, attention, Octoon, don't stick things in any other language pie hole that do not belong there. And don't give it to babies. Marvel print, some more small fine legalese made in China print, and Hasbro print. That, my friends, is a look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And here we have some handy dandy tweezers. Let's take a look at his accessories, which are a pair of I'm fixing to grab you sucker hands. And nothing we haven't seen before. Molded in the correct color rather than painted, and on in and out hinges. And there's a left and a right one. So very nice. Let's take a look at the figure himself. And I can't really say that I find a whole lot of paint apps on this figure. The headband here does appear to be a paint app, and of course they have printed the face on there. You can see a little bit of the glossiness on there. It's not overly bad, and I can't help but thinking it looks like the top of the hair here is a separate piece, or maybe it's that the headband is attached to the hair and the whole hair is then placed on the head. But I don't know, it looks like there's a little bit of space up here between the top hair and where the forehead's showing out. It doesn't look quite right from the front. From the side it looks okay. From the front it looks a little weird, if I'm being honest. Then we have his chest, and it appears to be molded in the correct color plastic. Then the yellow shirt here is an overlay, and then the arms are probably done in yellow plastic. Or is it green? I always thought it was yellow. I'm colorblind, so don't make fun of handicapped people. This silver here looks like it may be a paint app, because it does not appear to be a separate piece, but I could be wrong. So paint app there at least, because it doesn't, yeah, it's a paint app there. And then of course the fists are molded in the correct color, as well as the crotch piece and the leg pieces and the boots as well, all molded in colored plastic. And the belt, the chain belt as well, appears to be molded in color, because it doesn't 100% match up there to the bracelets. And I can see, I don't know if you can see it on camera or not, but I can see a little bit of the swirly twirly in there. So as far as paint apps goes, not a whole lot going on with Luke. And I forgot to say that he does come with a mindless one leg, and hopefully I will finish the mindless one and be able to do a review on that as well, because I'm really looking forward to that. Just not every figure in the wave necessarily. Now, one thing about Luke here is from the neck to the waist, it is one piece. There is no hinge in here. He does have that ball or dumbbell, whatever that torso piece that they use in here is. And let's take a look at his articulation and see how well he moves. He can look up that high, so that's pretty good. And he is on the ball and hinge at the neck. He can look down that far. He can do the chicken neck. He doesn't waggle. He's got a little bit of waggle, but not a whole lot of waggle there. He can do the full exorcist at the shoulder, 360 degrees of rotation. And he can raise his arm up just slightly past 90 degrees, and he does have a cut here at the upper bicep for a full 360 degree rotation. Double hinged pinless elbows, and it gives you that much bend, so it's not super on the bend. The sculpt does get in the way a little bit, so it's okay. It's quite enough for this character, I do believe. 360 degree rotation at the wrist on in and out hinge, and an in and out hinge on the other side as well. Now back to the waist that we were talking about a little bit earlier on that ball or dumbbell. It's got plenty of hula in there. He can lean back slightly. He can lean forward that far. He can lean left and right. And 360 degree rotation there at the waist as well. At the hips, he can give you that much of the splits. He kicks forward slightly less than 90 degrees. And back he gets, we'll call that a half a step. Cut here at the upper thigh gives you 360 degree rotation. Double hinged pinless, almost said pinned. Pinless knee, and again, not the greatest bend in there, but I've seen worse. The sculpt gets in the way slightly, but actually that's pretty good. Then at the top of the boot, nothing. Wow. Weird. I would at least figured they'd give him a boot cut here, or at least under the boot cuff, but they didn't. Ankle tilts down that far, tilts up that far, wow. And forward facing pin for rocker. And that, my friends, does it for a look at Luke Cage, Power Man. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons, and here we have the Marvel Legends series, Marvel Knights, Mindless One, Build-A-Figure Wave, Luke Cage Power Man, with the original Marvel Legends Toy Biz Power Man, and a Marvel Legends series, Iron Fist. For our final set of comparisons, here we have the Marvel Legends series, Marvel Knights, Luke Cage Power Man, with our final Marvel Legends comparison, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee, from the G.I. Joe Classified series, the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant Cobra Commander, from Star Wars The Black Series, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper, and for a 7-inch scale comparison from the Masters of the Universe Masterverse line, the 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Marvel Legends series, Marvel Knights, Mindless One's Build-A-Figure Luke Cage Power Man, I have to say, this version of Luke Cage with a modern figure has been a long time coming. I think the last time they did this Power Man version of Luke Cage was back in the Toy Biz days. Now, they could have done one of the 3 3/4 Marvel Universe figures and done a version of this Power Man, but I don't remember it. I remember the big, tight t-shirt Luke Cage that is the more modern version of the character being in that line. But again, they did go back and do some more comic type stuff. Well, the whole line's comic type stuff, isn't it? But, classic looks like this one. And, I can kind of understand why they don't necessarily like to do this version of the character. Because it was, it was in that era of like the blaxploitation films. And, this kind of lends towards that a little bit. And in my opinion, even the Netflix Luke Cage show, at least season 1, kind of leaned a little bit in that direction as well. But this costume really goes back to that 70s era, and I, for one, I like this costume for Luke Cage. I know it's a little silly, chain for a belt and tiara and big yellow shirt opened all the way to the waist. But, that's, to me, that says Luke Cage Power Man. It says Power Man. It might not say Luke Cage, but it does say Power Man. And I remember when I'm 5, 6 years old, maybe, reading some Power Man and Iron Fist Heroes for Hire. I didn't read it very often. I would only find it every once in a while. And, I didn't really understand what it was really about. When I was young, I was just like, hey, this is a cool superhero. One's beating the crap out of people and the other one's karate chopping their behinds. And, I didn't understand that they were getting paid to do that. It just never really crossed my mind when I was that age. And I'm sure a lot of us were that way. But as far as this figure goes, I really like it. Excuse me. I do like that they didn't break up the torso sculpt with an ab hinge and they just put it, all on that ball or dumbbell in the waist, and that's fine. I think that really suits this character a lot. Would I've liked to have seen him come with some more hands for different poses? Yeah, I would. That would have been nice. But as it is, I'm really just glad that they've done this version of Luke Cage. The only thing that I have to say. It's not really a negative, but the only thing that leans toward that side of the fence that I really have to say is I don't think the head sculpt on this is 70s enough looking. I think the Toy Biz sculpt for Power Man, the head sculpt, I think is a little better. But that's just my opinion. Your mileage, of course, may vary. But I'm finally glad that we're getting a modern Power Man. Or a modern version of the classic character. You know what I mean. A modern figure of the classic character. And now we need a version of Iron Fist to go with him, with the big high collar. And, then maybe a re-release or a new figure of Misty Knight would be cool as well. And the other lady, and I cannot remember her name, but the Asian lady as well. And, just get that whole team going there. And it really wouldn't take much for them to get an Iron Fist of like that, Pretty much just take one of the existing molds, hopefully update the elbows and knees to be pinless, and glue the collar on him, and just give him a nice paint job on the torso, and done with that. But this figure, if you are a fan of that classic Power Man, Heroes for Hire, Power Man and Iron Fist, then this one is for you. If you kind of skew more toward the modern version of the character, this one might not be for you. And I, for one, I'm just glad that this guy's finally getting his due and getting a new figure of his classic look. Well, that does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed my rambling. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further. Or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.